Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, and welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I am your host today, Kelly Sarlo, and I am here with arguably my favorite guest of all time, but we'll get to that in a second. If you're just listening, thank you for joining us. If you're watching and you're confused as to whether or not you tuned in to the right podcast, sit tight. We're on location today. I have the distinct pleasure today of interviewing a past client of ours, a massive success story of ours. And that guest is my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, honey.
Oh, this is exciting. So if anyone's like, what the hell, what lengths did you go to record this podcast? We actually have a podcast of our own. We're sitting in our studio. We just have this beautiful opportunity to spend time together, and I get to ask you all about your experience as a client of Breaking 90 Fitness. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to dive into today. You're good?
Yes.
Okay. So I did not let you prep. I just want to say that for listeners. So this is not scripted. I just want to throw a bunch of questions at you. I know you're a highly reflective person and you articulate your experience so well that I think a lot of people are going to get value out of this and hopefully see themselves in your story. And I'm sure by the end of it, feel hopeful about their own journey. So that's the intention today. We're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So my initial question would be, what originally brought you to Breaking 90? What was the intention in the very beginning?
I think in the very beginning, it was really rudimentary and old-fashioned. It was weight loss.
Okay, elaborate.
I think at the time it was just my body was changing, as it does in particular more for women, as we know. Our bodies change constantly. Never mind just year to year, they changed from
Week
one
to
week with our cycles, right? They the bloating, like everything changes. And I was going through another change, and I was trying to figure out how to make the change sustainable this time. I didn't want a quick fix diet. I wanted something that was actually going to teach me how to age and have better health.
Okay, pause right there, because sometimes people say, oh, wow, your sister's really beautiful, Kelly. And I love that. So can you just hang on and tell people how old you are?
Oh, I'm 62.
Okay, and you started this journey probably about 2 years ago. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. Okay, so 60. I want people to know what ages and changes you're referring to.
Yeah, because this is postmenopausal, right? And this is where some people think, at this point in life, you're supposed to have a certain body size or a certain body shape as you're aging, as you're in your 60s, because now, some people consider that old. And I realize some people don't anymore.
Some people's not caring.
So what I wanted was to find a program that was going to give me habits, that was going to give me a different type of mindset. That's one of the biggest things that I was looking for, because prior to that, I'd had basically, if we're going to be honest, 45 years of trying to figure out what my body is supposed to look like. And that's everybody else weighing in on it, not just me trying to figure it out for me. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to find a program that was going to teach me how to develop muscle as I age, that was going to help me figure out how to change a mindset so that it's not an on again, off again, all or nothing, or I'm good to do this for a year, I can give it, and then I'm going to fall off of it again. I wanted to find something that was going to take me through the good days and the bad days, the days where I'm very committed and the days where I'm not at all. Mm-hmm. And that's what this program does. It sees you through all of those different ups and downs, the emotional ones, the mental ones, like meaning the mindset ones, right? Mm-hmm. The physical ones of what happens with the body, where you have an injury, you have a baby, you go through the different stages that women go through in life, and men go through too. But just, speaking as a woman, I wanted to find something that was also going to give me education And let me tell you, Breaking 90 gave me education.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there because this is hilarious. I'm like, okay, what was the number one reason or what was the main reason you came? And you're like, weight loss. And then she's got a list of demands because you're going to teach me, you're going to educate me, you're going to hold me accountable, you're going to reshape my mind. And I love this. I love because you've been on a journey in particular of self-discovery. You've been on a journey of education, right? And I'm bringing this up on purpose because so many clients that I see that are your age or in that kind of generation are really battling with generational messages
Oh, yes.
that younger generations no longer have.
Yep.
And, I remember you coming home from a doctor's appointment, saying like, hey, like I've gained weight. I'm not really happy about it. Is there anything that you could test for or tell me I need to do? Because, we put our trust in our doctors. And they were like, well, yeah, you're aging. And it was just written off like, oh, as your age climbs, so will your weight. And I just remember thinking that is so ignorant.
And I was told that they actually wanted a good 10 to 15 extra pounds on me so that I could have it in case I get sick, so that I could lose it.
So they just said pounds. They didn't say muscle mass.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm okay to have 10 or extra 15 pounds if it's muscle. I'm not okay to have 10 or 15 pounds if it's fat.
Right.
And this is something, and I want to say one more thing about Breaking 90.
You're going to say lots more. I have more questions.
Okay. I research everything. And I'm a research maniac. And I knew that coming into Breaking 90, that everybody in Breaking 90 does their research.
Cool.
So that was appealing to me because I knew that each of you have done your own background work before you teach or before you say something or before you promote it. And I also know each of you well enough in this organization to know that if you don't know something, you're going to say, well, geez, I just don't know that. And you're honest. So there's honesty here. And I like that because sometimes it was just like, well, here's the honesty. You're just in a slump right now, or you're just, you're just in this right now. So you've got a couple of weeks just to stay at this weight, but it's going to shift in a couple of weeks. Hang in there. But there was honesty in it. There was honesty in every one of those stages to say, yeah, sometimes that's what the body does. Yep, we plateau. There was honesty in all of that.
Yeah, I'm hearing honesty and education, a combo of the two, which is really cool. And I'm glad that you brought that up. So, okay, we know why you initially came. You were looking for basically a transformation, not a rudimentary weight loss. Because some people, and I'm saying that on purpose, some people are like, I want to lose weight. I don't care what it is I have to do. Just get it off of me.
Yeah, and that's not me.
And you're articulating, I wanted much more. I wanted to understand the process. I wanted to be a part of a healthy system.
Yeah, because even though it was weight loss, I was looking at how am I going to age healthily? How am I going to maintain mental health as I age? So if a weight loss plan says get rid of certain foods that have certain vitamins in them that are going to be necessary for my brain development as I age, then I'm not willing to do that.
Smart woman.
Yeah, and thank you. And this is why I love this group, because there is consideration for all aspects of our health. It isn't a weight loss goal alone. You guys are looking at all aspects of health. So you weren't willing to pull something out of my body that I need for the weight loss. And I love that because I think of all the drug companies that are giving people things that are stealing from their bodies, stealing muscle mass in order to achieve the weight loss. I didn't want anybody stealing from me the things I need.
Jesus, I'm not paying her to do this podcast, by the way. I don't even need to ask you questions. This is great. Okay, so I want to ask you something, because this is something we ask a lot of people when they get on a discovery call with us. We say to them, what are your goals? What are your obstacles that you're facing right now? And then we ask them, why not do this by yourself? You were 60 years old. Why not at that point, with all of your knowledge, and you're a researcher, like you just said, why didn't you want to do this by yourself?
Fun.
Not the answer I was expecting.
I know.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, I'm going to say that one of the answers is fun because, and I didn't know that actually until I really got into the group, but your group is fun. So the leaders of the group are fun people. Each of you have sense of humors. Each of you have wit. I love wit.
I can't show this podcast to Alex. You can't boost his ego even more than it already is.
He's not paying me either.
We're kidding. We love him. Go ahead.
I came for fun. I wanted to be able to figure out how to change the way that I was eating, the way I was exercising, the way that I was seeing life, seeing routines, and seeing patterns. But when we see our own patterns, our ego can get in the way and really shut us down. Our defense mechanisms can get in the way and shut us down. And I need, because that's my personality, a beautiful way that I've discovered that I can deal with my own ego and my own defense mechanisms is through humor.
This is just like a mic drop moment. I don't know that anyone approaches a weight loss program and says, I would like to have fun. So I'm really grateful that you're pulling this out, because most people see it as a task or a job or a responsibility or, just something that they have to get through. And you're talking about intentionally putting a team together to say, I want to have fun on this journey and I want to have fun learning. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
Because I knew, Kelly, that if I actually enjoyed the experience, that I could maintain it. And that was the key. So, or one of the keys, because I'm looking at being part of breaking 90, because I'm 62. So if I live to be 92, or if I live to be 102,
You have to live forever. Go on.
I have to maintain the way that I'm thinking, the way that I'm exercising, the way that I'm eating. All of these things that you guys give in this organization, I need to maintain it for 3 decades. So there's very little in life we can maintain for 3 decades, including relationships, without humor, without
Play.
fun, without playfulness. And this is something I loved because of Alex and all of you that create bingo cards, and like the way that he would challenge me if I was in a bit of a slump with something, and he'd say, okay, you know what, I'd be talking to one of you guys about what I thought was a real problem. And he'd be like, you know what, I'm just going to throw, can you eat 5 different colored vegetables in one day? And I would just giggle. Because I thought my issue was like, oh, I can't move that scale 1 pound. And he was like, how about 5 fruit or something?
Neat.
Or have you eaten a brand new fruit lately?
So shifting the way that you saw things, approached things, got challenged, and okay.
And the focus on the scale or the pants size shifted to my mind. It shifted from my body and maybe a fat cell or a cellulite or whatever, right? It shifted from that to the way I was thinking. It shifted to, can I enjoy finding 5 vegetables today? And then the weight or the fat or the cellulite or whatever the goal was got attained, but my attention wasn't on it.
I love that.
My attention had focused to something that brought me happiness and joy. And now that I'm in the, what do you call that? Forever
Fit, forever strong.
yeah.
This is our free online community for anyone who's
well,
wondering.
I'm in it for the rest of my life. You guys are stuck with me. But like, I wanted things that were going to sustain me in my mind, because the mind drives what's going on in the body. And vice versa. If I'm eating the proper foods in digestion, in my digestive system, those beautiful membranes in my intestines are going to give me the proper nutrients in those blood vessels to carry those beautiful nutrients to my brain and feed it. So it's a circle, right? It's
a feedback loop.
Yes. And so quite often in my past 45 years, I was stuck in one part of that feedback loop, not understanding that I had to get out of it in order to understand all of me. And that when I addressed the areas of me that I had not addressed prior, that once I did and brought that humor and that playfulness and that joy and, oh my God, Kelly, like I can hardly wait to get up in the morning to check in and see, what Alex's question is of the day. And then I want to be the first, or not necessarily the first, but I want to answer it. And then that becomes the focus of my day. in small ways because there are many other focuses, of course. But it's playfulness. It brings me back to that again.
Cool. So I feel like I'm skimming over so many beautiful points that you're making, and I'm hoping that people will just hit pause and reflect on things that you say and draw the parallel for themselves. I'm going to move to my next question, which clearly you were ready to do a lot of work. Like you were committed in your mind, committed in your body that you were going to make these changes. You signed up for the program, I don't know, expecting maybe that we were going to expect a lot of you. How did you find what was asked of you when you got in the program? Did that surprise you? Was it exactly what you expected?
I found the expectations, I found them easy. I find the way that you guys communicated very clear. I found the goal to be set, simple to achieve, because I'm going to say something. It all makes sense.
Oh, good.
Like there isn't confusion in what you guys are offering people. And it is so manageable. So I'm going to give an example. Mm-hmm. You guys, like there's protein. You guys want us to eat so many proteins a day. Well, holy mother, you know what else? We're supposed to be eating, especially as women and especially as we age, we have to increase our protein. It's fundamental to being healthy. So I wanted to go out and, okay, so how am I going to get that protein in? Well, you guys actually told me how to do it. You said how to get it in for a breakfast, a lunch, and a supper. You said how to get it in snacks. You teach exactly how to do it so that it's easy. And then everybody in the group supports each other. So you've got a group that gives support. All of the responsibility isn't on the leaders.
Neat.
So you empower the people in your group to have power to help each other. Oh, that's community.
Thank you for seeing that and getting that.
Yes.
That's a really beautiful point that you're making, because a lot of people who join a weight loss program don't think community is going to be involved.
Right.
And this is such a fundamental piece.
This is a beautiful piece. Yes, because you're giving. So I'll give the example. Then you got, so now I was trying to get a weigh scale and I was thinking, okay, what's a portion of this in protein and this in protein and all these different proteins? How am I going to figure it out? And do I have to read labels and all of that? And you and Alex and Jerica were like, nah, don't do all that. Let's make it simple. Just use your palm. That was critical. That was critical life-saving information. Because the palm is something, as you guys say, that is going with you everywhere, because you can't leave your palm anywhere. But what it did for me was it made me realize that if I'm just using my own palm, that makes sense to my size of body, because I'm a 5'2", petite, 62-year-old woman, and stats in diets are not for me. They're not for me. Neither is the elliptical in the gym.
I'm glad you know that.
Oh, my physio knows that. My massage therapist knows that, because my legs, like my hips go out of joint. So there are consequences, just like the elliptical, where my hips and my muscles and my hamstrings pulled. There was a whole bunch of consequences that machines were made for men instead of for me.
That's cool. So when you say consequences for blindly accepting stats.
Yes.
Unknowingly that you are not the statistic or the demographic.
Exactly. So I was not the demographic.
Very cool.
For all of these weight loss programs.
So everything got simplified and tailored.
Yes. And put right in the palm of my hand.
Literally.
Love
that.
So now I can be anywhere and understand what a real portion is for me. And you guys teach that, what real portions are to you. It's your body that you're measuring it with, as opposed to it's so many grams. But all of that is for men. And it's typically for men that are about 5'10", 5'11". That's what the studies are on. So we're often being given information by our friends who are repeating it, just as we're sitting having lunch or whatever, just everyday stuff that really are not applicable to us. And then we can't understand why we're not achieving the goals we want to achieve.
Neat. Okay, I appreciate that. So I'm going to move to another question then, because I don't want to make this too long. If you could give listeners one takeaway, one really important takeaway that you took from the program in your experience that you think is most impactful, what would that be?
I think it's BAM.
Okay.
I think it's bare ass minimum because now I apply it in every single aspect of my life. By the way, all of the mindset goal coaching that you provide for this program and that Alex and Jerica do because of the beautiful people that they are at the core of their beings are critical to life lessons. They are not just weight loss goals. So I took every teaching and every conversation with you and Alex and Jerica, and I made them applicable to every other aspect of my life. So when I'm being taught in weight loss, just do your bare ass minimum, and you guys are explaining, if you can't do an hour of yoga or like a full class out at a gym, could you do 10 minutes on the floor in your bedroom? Could you do 5 minutes? So sometimes my bare ass minimum really moved from an all or nothing mindset, because those two get linked really quickly, right? Mm-hmm. So the bare ass minimum mindset pulled me out of all or nothing. Mm-hmm. And it gave me health. It gave me mental health. It gave me emotional health, because then my emotions didn't go up and down thinking I was doing well when I was there, and then beating myself up into self-criticism on the moments and days when I was quote unquote cheating. This allowed me to throw cheating right out the window as something that doesn't exist in my life anymore. So I started looking for whatever bare ass minimums I could find in every aspect.
Beautiful. I've watched you do this because we work together as well in our own separate businesses. I've watched you set bare ass minimums for what you can achieve at the desk in a day. If energy is waning, we've been sick all through the 2024 winter season. I've watched you set bare ass minimums for your movement, like you were mentioning. I've watched you set bare ass minimums for the sometimes even just the affection that you can give, right? And I say this in a loving way. And if I can't give you 20 minutes to listen to you vent, but I can put my hand on your back and say, I love you and I'm thinking of you, there's connection. And I don't have to do everything you're asking of me. I can do a little bit to connect with you because that's what I have the capacity for. So I love that you're asking listeners to think about these lessons in a broader scheme. I think that's really beneficial. And for some people who are fixated on the scale, they might forget to do that, because that's a lot of conditioning, looking at that scale and putting a lot of weight, pun not intended, into the number that you're seeing is going to distract you from the fact that these, in fact, are ways of living instead of just the trick or tips to lose weight.
Yeah, and I think that's something I had been conditioned to believe in those first 6 decades of life, was that weight loss goals or weight loss programs were just tips and tricks to get you to a body image. Mm-hmm. And the way that I have experienced Breaking 90 is that it's got nothing to do with that. And that you guys have dug deeper into so many other aspects of life that you're the only program I've ever seen that actually helps people through the emotional component, through the beliefs that you have, through the patterns that we all create in life, and gives us the ability to look at all of those things and be able to rewrite them at any age.
Beautiful. I'm going to stop there. I can't even count the number of mic drop moments that you've had throughout this episode. So I want to say a heartfelt thank you. A, because I get to spend quality time with you, but B, because what you have given listeners is a challenge to think about what they believe a weight loss program is or should be, and also a challenge to think, am I approaching life with playfulness and wanting to have fun, or am I approaching life with the idea that I just have to work at it and get through it? And I think that is a life-changing challenge if people are willing to accept it.
It's in your opening line on your podcast, sustainable weight loss goals. It is sustainable.
Cool. Thank you for your time. Thank you for articulating things so beautifully. And thank you to everyone who joined and continues to listen to the show. If you can do us a favor, like and subscribe to the show on whatever podcast platform that you're listening to. That helps us reach more listeners. If you have the time and energy to leave a review, that helps us even more. And at the very least, if you can take a screenshot wherever you're listening from and post it to your Instagram account, tag Breaking90 Fitness. We appreciate everyone who joins us each week.